is Michael Boyd, and I get to be the spokesman for our group. Um, we're doing our presentation on the flipped classroom. Now, you may be asking yourself how a flipped classroom can represent emerging technology. Well, I think if you'll bear with us as we walk through this, you'll see just how well this really represents emerging technology. The idea of a flipped classroom came in the 1990s with a Harvard professor. Basically, he would have his students pre-learn and use the class time for deepening cognitive learning and thinking. The professor called his method just-in-time teaching, and he also was joined by two chemistry teachers who began recording class lectures and placing the videos online. Bergman and Sams began placing new content online so students could review or preview to deepen the students' knowledge in class. Another major founder of flipped learning is Salman Khan with Khan Academy, which if you've been in school at all, you'll be aware of what Khan Academy and the videos they use is. It is a form of a flipped classroom. Association of Flipped Learning Network defines flipped learning as a pedagogical approach in which instruction moves from the group learning space to the individual learning space, and the resulting group space is transformed into a dynamic, interactive learning environment, where the educator guides students as they apply concepts and engage creatively in the subject matter. Using flipped learning during class time, the rigor of the cognitive levels, moves to applying, analyzing, and evaluating the content that was taught in the videos at home. So there are benefits to the flipped learning. Teachers are always looking to enhance Bloom's within the four walls. Flipped learning, the remembering and the understanding is left to the students before and after class. Same amount of class time, but it's utilized much more efficiently. Students come to class with a pre-knowledge, a pre-understanding of the material. They're not learning it in class, they're learning it at home. During class time, the rigor is focused on applying, analyzing, and evaluating the content that was taught in the videos at home and then reinforced when they go back home. The flipped classroom approach, learning takes place at home and the concepts are reinforced in learner-centered activities. Now, students are coming to class with a basic understanding of material that they have completed at home. They are ready to ask questions and clarification for things they may not understand, and it's easy to address the misconceptions they have right away. This creates more face-to-face time with the teacher to do this, even if the teacher had to lecture especially if the teacher had to lecture the class for the entire period. Teachers are also able to give support to their students in a guilt-free manner, where there's no strict timeline to fit in a lecture or to make sure that information was covered in a specific lesson. Students began to develop a sense of their own learning style, and they know the most effective way to take notes and construct understanding of concepts. Their students will be more proactive about exposing themselves to information so that they can participate in class and activities. When they do not understand something, they can write down their questions to ask the teacher so that they can research information online to extend their learning. Students can also access materials and lectures at any time. It doesn't matter if they're missing class for whatever reason. It benefits all students to work at their own pace because then they can take notes, they can pause, they can rewind, they can reconsider it. It gives them increased access to class materials. Bloom's taxonomy comes into play as there's more higher order thinking and more collaboration and peer discussion. A flipped classroom is also a major benefit to teachers. It allows them to successfully document what they are doing in their classrooms and what their lectures are like. They can have adjustments, extend on what they have done for previous years, and re-record what they have to. It eliminates the times when teachers forget what they've done in the past. Now, you might say, well, this sounds awesome, but there are some limitations you need to take into account. And there are several limitations. Teachers may be leery of implementing in their classroom because technology does play a key role in the development and execution of this learning model. One major issue is internet access. There are students who may not have access to the internet at home, and this can be an issue for any lectures or assignments that require the internet, thus raising the need for finding other means for instructional delivery, such as recording the lecture and copying it to a disk or other storage media. The student would then take it home and watch it on the appropriate device, which leads us to our next limitation, lack of hard technology. Students may not have an electronic device at home that is capable of streaming or watching the instructional content the teacher assigns. Now, the instructor must provide or find a way for the students to participate in individual activities that they're required at home. Now, in our world with smartphones, that solves many of the problems because we can put this online and stream it. As we'll talk about later when we get to interactive video, but that limitation may not be as hard as it used to be. Since this is at times an issue for low-income students, it can create a digital divide and highlight those who are incapable of participating. The organization of a flipped classroom and the students in it can create limitations as well. It's a new way to teach and learn, and the initial workload for teachers can be very overwhelming. Every element must be integrated to efficiently ensure an effective learning environment. This can be both stressful and time-consuming, especially if this is the first time the flipped learning concept is being introduced. Learning and teaching is a whole new concept, and it can be difficult without proper guidance and support. Student participation can also be a disadvantage. If they're unwilling to take part in the assigned activities, this can be because of the transition from an otherwise passive learning environment to a much more active one. In this model, students must take an active role in their learning, and this can take time for them to get used to. This brings us to motivation. And it's true in everything, but especially in a flipped environment, lack of student motivation can be very detrimental to this type of environment. There's no guarantee that students will participate at home, and if they aren't motivated, then they are unlikely to do so. Lack of motivation can have multiple reasons, but one could be a resistance to change. Students are accustomed to a certain way of learning, and inducing a way that seems backwards or upside down from the norm can raise resistance to the attempted change. It could also be that this type of environment just isn't for everyone. Not all students learn the same, and not all do well with change. Our last two limitations involve concerns on a broader scale. The flipped classroom model does not naturally give setup for test prep learning. This is less concentration on teaching the test and more on facilitation of conceptual learning. Since standardized testing is still present in most schools, this poses another issue for the teacher because they want to make sure their students can pass the test while maintaining the flipped classroom model. Another concern is the time that students will be spending in front of a screen. Parents are already worried that their children spend way too much in time as it is. Introducing a model that incorporates the necessity of more screen time could cause problems amongst parents and other educators. Now, one of the devices that we can use in a flipped learning environment, one of the ones that's been most integrated in a lot of ways, are student response systems, or clickers. A large portion of designing a flipped classroom includes the use of mobile and wireless devices, and they can include wireless devices called clickers. Clickers are small, handheld devices that are about the size of a remote control. Clickers are often used for tracking comprehension, application of information in a given scenario, and evaluation of understanding. Some clickers are wireless, and an application downloaded on a cellular device. Clickers are a wide variety. Research on learning outcomes has only compared the use of clickers to traditional lecture models, and so we can't definitively say with research we can back up that clickers are an effective way to help students learn. Now, two key features distinguish clicker use. Clickers provide a mechanism for students to participate anonymously, and they integrate a game approach that may engage students more than traditional class discussion. Clickers enable teachers to create active learning environments. The benefits of active learning are widely acclaimed in higher education. According to Guthrie and Carlin, modern students are primarily active learners, and lecture courses may be increasingly out of touch with how students engage their world. Early proponents of active learning designated encourage active learning as one of the 7 principles of good practice in higher education. A relative